It is of course time for the post-Go Rush Festival banlist and Duel Links, hopefully bringing the tier 0-ness of Matarion Gaia down a tad, that'll be cool, hitting the skill, that'll be great, unlimiting some cards, nerfing type change beam, that'll be cool. Now, do we have any skill balancing? We do as well, okay, so we'll go through that first of all, because I think that one's going to kind of set the tone overall for this thing. Let's dive right in first of all. We've got Soul Burning Link, so a speed skill, okay, that is going to be, I think... Some are going to like that, some probably aren't. We've then got Beyond Curiosity, Max Rag. Okay, so Cyberse skills being buffed. Okay, that's cool. Rush on Dragius, Yamruda. Okay. And nothing for the tier 0 Gaia skill. Okay, sure, let's just see what they're saying about these ones first of all. So Soul Burning Link is going to be sending 2 cards rather than 1, I assume. And must be a Salamangreat. Okay, so... that's a pretty big change, but again, I'm kind of tuned out of Speedo right now, so I guess I want to hit them before the KC Cup, and given we've got a brand new box coming next week, this probably does make sense. Then we've got Beyond Curiosity, which removes the attack point reduction on the maximum monster. Okay, that's fine. Given we have more cards that can't play around them, that's okay. We've then got Ragnarok, which lets you now use monsters with 100 less defense or 1500 more defense, so getting more support coming for Cyberse in a new box, super mini box coming. That could be neat. This one gives you fusion access. Okay, so Nail has, I believe, 2 or 3 Cyberse fusions that could come, so we'll look at them in a minute. We've then got Rush on Seven's Road, Dragius, Yamrula, all these ones are having this restriction put on it of having most free copies, and is there anything else? Okay, so they've removed the deckburner requirement, but they've given it the usual and most free copies thing, so it's basically a buff. It's basically a buff. So overall, I mean, cool, Cyberse is getting some buff skills. That's neat for new support coming down the line, but doesn't really do anything to address the tier 0-ness or the dragons or anything else. So hopefully, card-wise, we're in a good spot, but at the moment, I'm not feeling too confident. But let's quickly see those fusions real quick and see what could be coming in a couple weeks' time. So we've got Fenrir Writer Soul, requires still select Soul plus connected dogs. That's your 2 tribute plus a vanilla. Your mill 2, draw 1. Then you can summon a Cyberse from hand if there's a card in your opponent's field. Okay, like getting 2 bodies for the price of 1, I guess, is pretty cool. That seems fine, doesn't do anything overly overpowered, right? So, okay, cool. Then is Permanent Hicotron, which is Femtron plus Cycliptron, and this gives you a draw 2, then it's basically Graceful Charity in a way, innit? Kind of, in a little bit of a way. So, that's neat, but I don't think these 2 are going to be anything overly amazing. We are going to need maybe a bit more them to compete in the current metagame, but maybe, you know, maybe we can get a good counter, right? If Yggdrago comes back, to being a potential counter, I guess, to Gaia. That could be cool, just being a big 4,000 body. They can't be over. That'd be neat. And so, back to the cards. Okay, first of all, we've got King's Majesty and Negate Attack going to limit 1. Okay, like, Negate Attack I think makes sense because it is the best trap card in Rush at the moment. King's Majesty, of course, was used with the Gaia Matarion deck, and that's what we're kind of focusing on the moment, is Gaia Matarion. And so, I get it. Like, in a vacuum, I get it. But in the context of Rush Duel at the moment, where everyone is calling for more interaction in Rush Duel, this isn't really it, right? This is removing interaction away, right? Because you've now got less options, and so your opponent's back removal, or in the case of Matarion, they can now focus on your face-up monster with their Matarion Ashura Star rather than your back row. That doesn't feel all that great. Like, I agree in some sense, but in others I don't. Like, that's a bit weird, but okay. We've then got Why? Who was using this? This card was limited to uphold an enjoyable dueling tempo, as using several copies can slow down the game. Are you fucking serious? This is the point. We want the game to be slower. At the moment, we're in an OTK heavy format, right, that's really RNG focused, right, because you've got type change beam, then at some point you're instantly winning, right? And the last metagame was Dragius Star, which was, guess what, OTK deck. Before that, it was Psychics, guess what, OTK deck. Magnum Overlord, guess what, OTK deck, right? Matarion as well, guess what, OTK deck, has a bunch of back removal, and now you're removing back row from the format. How is that a fix for the current issue? We know there's no skill changes for Gaia, so it's got to be card-wise, so, like, I guess, but this was a really good option as well for, like, something like, say, Pyro, right? Because you could then ensure your attacks don't all go through and get redirected. Pyro gets directed into, say, like a the Ember, right? 15 defense body, you don't die. Like, okay, great. So 3 battle traps, limit 1. Hopefully we get more non-battle traps, right? It's been since October since Trap Hole released, right? November since Rise Terror Secure, which we now can't play alongside any of these, so... Right, that's just... This text here has really pissed me off, because it's like, it's showing they are so out of touch with what Rush Duel should be and what the players, I think, really want. Okay. It can't get worse, right? Type change beam going to 1. Okay, so I'd have preferred a ban, but 1 is fine. Of course, Mataron can use this in Pure. That's okay. In the Garage Festival, this was played in the top tiers, right? And it was good in the mirror because you knew your opponent was on high levels and also on warriors, and so it was a lot of times an instant win. And so that's why you saw win rates of 55%, 60%, because it was just a coin flip basically as to who saw this first. And so this being hit after a while, it was a very toxic card to face against. It is going to suck when you do get, you know, the 1 copy coming at you, but I think that this is a fine compromise, and it's a lot better than this 3 change here. This is, yeah, that's not it. We've then got limit 3, so no limit 2 is okay, so... Let's see, I'm going to assume Gaia's on here. Okay, this one was obvious, right? Baltessa going to 3 to clash alongside the Star Restart and the Secret Order, right? So, at the moment, this does hurt Mataron Gaia. However, we did see in the top 100 people playing 2 and 2, so you can cut 1 and still do really well. Or, we saw people not playing Star Restart at all. And so for those people, things don't really change aside from maybe type change beam and this back row that can be changed out, right? So these have replacements in a way, right? Buffered Slime, Trap Hole, Widespread, Card Restoration. At the same time, they're still, aside from 1, all battle traps, and so they're gonna get popped anyway. So it doesn't really make... This makes no sense. It's not even released in the main box yet. You know, it's still selection box lock. The trap card isn't, but this one is still selection box locked. Okay, I know it was played at 1, I think, in the number 1 deck, and was played in a few times in other ones, and so I can get why, because it's a good recursion card, right? Bringing 3 cards back to your deck is great, and then of course does give you a battle option change, and so it turns on piercing with the Gaias, but at the same time, it's all the other decks, right, that kind of using this, right? So you think about Magnum Overlord, or you think about Yamruda, for example, was using this as well. Monarchs could use this as well to kind of beat over some bigger bodies, and now, you know, potentially in those decks you might have access to them. Depends again on what limit 3s we still got at the moment. We'll check after this, right? On Dawn Commander, we'll see the entire balance and kind of go from there and go through what decks have been artificially hit and stuff. But that's, I mean, this made sense, right? You know, if you're hitting this, unhit this, okay, sure, fair enough, straightforward, that's fine. There's a real lack of like dragons on here and a real lack of just like understanding of what the fuck is going on in Rush Duel right now. Okay, we've then got Vast Vulcan. So this was limit 3, right? And so I guess now you can play the Ghost Cyclone. I don't know what else really was kind of clashing with this that is worth playing. Cyber Dragon maybe if you could play it, but I don't think you could have other skill anyway. We've then got Magnum Overlord, which again is an OTK heavy card, right? You know, you summon this card out and you've got to try and play around it, but at the same time you really can't. So this one's a bit weird, but maybe we're getting more support coming. There might be limit 3 that they might want to put the OG back out, I guess. This one's a bit weird. This one I think is fine. This one's a bit weird. I imagine the Dino one's going on here as well if they're kind of unlimiting all these ones. We've then got Heavy Metal, which now I believe means the Rebels are now at full power again, aside again from these brand new limit 1s like Call the Earthbound, and they still go Cyclone as well at limit 3, so they can now play that again. But I think that's fine at the moment. I think that's cool to bring it back. Shock Dragon is really cool. Never really saw that much play. Of course, mainly it was being played in that Vanilla Dragon deck, right? The one that came via the Deadwood box. And so maybe you can play this in Bluetooth, right? If that works with the restriction, it might do, because the attack points. And you can then debuff opponent's bodies, play Bluetooth, nuke the board. Maybe that will work out nicely if that's a play you can make. We've then got Dark Soul Magician, should have never been limited. This is perfectly fine. Aim Eagle, so that deck is now completely back to how it was, right? You know, assuming on launch, I mean, of course, Mirror Innovator, Cyber Dragon still limited, but in terms of original cards, it is now back to where it was, so hopefully Light Machines, you know, can be coming back and be good in some way. Terrascape should not be limited on release, but I don't think it'll be that good in Duel Links at the moment. Probably better in the OG Rush Duel format, but in Duel Links, I think that whilst it's a cool card, I don't think it's gonna be that great. Gekka is a card I forgot was even in the game, but hopefully more plant cards coming soon. That'll be cool. And we've got Shieldbore and Kong as well. Again, another card was limited on release and could be good depending on the format, but it does only target face-off monsters, and so given you have, I won't say removed, right, because you've now moved this, so maybe these two can now work together in a way and be a co strategy. And also, Insect Rampage going from 1, I believe, to unlimited. That's really big for a free-to-play friendly deck. Okay, so you're sending Gaia away because the deck isn't on the table anymore. You're making this more free-to-play. That's neat, but overall, it's a mess, right? It's a real mess. We're complaining about how Rush Duel has no interaction outside of the battle phase. Right? There's Trap Hole and there's Rice Terrace, and that's about it. And now you've gone, you know what? Fuck you guys. All these limit 1. And yes, it does hurt Gaia, right? Because now you can't play this, you got to play your fusion, right? And so that's good. But at the same time, it hurts so many other decks. And so let's go quickly to Duel Links meta and check out the Gorish Festival and some other decks and see what happened to the metagame and see how things have changed. Okay, so Gaia Festival first place, what do we lose? Well, we've got 3 limit 1 here, plus this, plus your Ghost Cyclone, plus your Secret Order. So on the surface, right, it looks like a pretty major change, but no one really was running this, and this is a optional one, but you can see here that this is playing no Star Restart. So you can still play Matara on Gaia without playing the Star Restart stuff. You can play other stuff and make it work. So in that sense, you've lost you've lost this trap card here, you've lost some consistency, but power-wise, you're kind of still in the same place, right? We've then got second place, which was playing 2 and 2. So yes, you've lost the beam and you've lost the gate attack, sure, replacements are there, you cut one of the Star Restarts, and you play 2 and 1. Fourth place was playing 3 and 2. Fifth place was playing 2 and 2, so again you cut 1. Sixth place was playing 3 and 2. Seventh place was playing 3 and 2. Ninth place was playing 3 plus Secret Orders, meaning that Pure Gaia, which is what this one is, has been hit. Pure Gaia has probably been hit more, I guess, than Matarion Gaia. In a way, right? Type Beam, of course, is that's a thing. That's, they want to play Monster Calling, but I think what we've seen as well is that people were playing Tasmac Seal Array over Star Restart at some point during KC Cup, and so I think that's what happened is you'll go 3 Gaias, Tasmac Seal Array, and just go for OTK, because you've now removed a bunch of backer options from the format, right? And you've got things like Buffered Slime that don't care about your Matana Shurstar because it's level 9, and doesn't care about Dragons either. So you've now, in a bunch of decks, removed the interaction. Now more certainty you can kill through some bluffing back row. Of course, we have Matarion playing the skill. You do lose Type Change Beam access, right? I didn't want Matarion to die, just straight up, right? I didn't want Matarion to die, but I wanted a bit more than this for Gaia Matarion. I think the skill was the big issue, right? You could have just locked this into Warriors and Dragons in the main deck, and it would have been fine. You would have been able to play Gaia, you would have been able to play Heroes as well, which is lesser variant, but also kind of got hit as well because they were playing some Star Restarts, and so they didn't have to. Like Matarion, you don't have to, but they could have been. Okay, Heroes here. This one, you lose a Secret Order that was only really played for, I guess, the Gaia the Fist Knight, right? Just for the one guy you're playing. So, did it really matter? Probably not. You've still got your Monster Calling, the Sensor card, and replace the card you discarded, so it's functionally the same as Secret Order. But let's then go to, say, Dragons, right? And Dragons, you now have a clash of Limit 1s with your Phoenix Dragon, but you now can play 2 copies of Dragon's Fortitude. That's neat. But at the same time, you've now removed options in the back row, and so Dragons can still kill even quicker. And I just thought about this as well, right? Now kind of removed Negate Attack from, say, this Gaia deck, and you've now got to replace it with either Trap Hole or Widespread. And with the case of Widespread, you can buff up, say, your Gaia to become 32, and make sure Matana Shurstar survives, which is the better card of the two. Feels like a real misread of the overall room of Rush Duel, and even hitting a selection box card that's not been reprinted since then just also feels weird. Now, if we go to the actual search and just look at see what cards limit 1, etc. So limit 1, you've now removed Negate Attack from Water. Great, thank you Konami. From Joint Tech, as if they didn't have a problem already. Same with this one. From Worms, I guess, yeah, you've removed from Worms as well. Anything playing Rice Terrace, so probably Dark Galaxy, would have been playing this at some point. Dragons, of course, they're now got to decide between these two, and I think they will pick Phoenix Dragon, because our recursion is quite big, but I can see them not doing that. And it's funny because, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your Limit 1 trap cards are battle traps, and you've got this one here, Limit 1, that's a non-battle trap card trap, that's not doing anything. No one's playing it. They've never played it. And it's fine, just bring this one back and have it be at least an option you can play that doesn't get popped immediately. Limit 2, of course, has the spell card for Psychics and the, of course, Dragon's Fortitude. And so Limit 3 now looks a bit different, right? You're now seeing, right, you've got your Torero that now clashes with, say, your Yamiro stuff, which is not that great. Of course, Gaia clashing now with the Secret Order and the Star Restart. The Dino guy, Maximum, didn't come off the list for some strange reason. Thunder Gazelle with your Magnum Overlord and have that in a deck and give Monster Piercing. It just feels really, really bad, and I don't know how they missed the mark this much. I don't know how you put this message out here saying, you know, uphold and Enjoyable Dawn Temper for a card that wasn't being used, but when it is used, it's because it's one of the only options we have in the game and you've just taken them out of a bunch of decks, right? Join Tech and like Water the Need, like Negate Attack, right? That are really good for that deck. You've got, you know what, you can't play that because you've got some fucking bundle card, and now you just die to Dragus again. Just, you know, fuck me harder, Dragistar, like just... Okay. I don't like this list. I like this. I think this is fine. This, I don't know what to think of this one. But like, again, in a vacuum, I think that Limit 1, Powerful Traps, I think that does make sense. But when you've got like 4 or 5 options for trap cards, you're now limiting those choices even further. And when one of them doesn't work against Maximums or Big Fusions, and a problem deck exists in Matarion that's all about summoning Big Fusions to get around that. Yeah, hopefully whatever this box comes, right, with Cyberse support, if they drop it at the end of this event before Kira is unlockable, which they might do. If not, they might wait until after Casey Cup being April 22nd or whatever it is, alongside Zuito's rerun. Okay, yeah. I hope people are more positive about this than I am. Right, I just, doesn't make any sense to me. And so I'm editing this, right, and I saw that Reef, the 22nd ranked player in the Garage Festival, playing Mataro and Gaia, hopped over onto Twitter just to say, you know what, I'm on a 10-win streak with post-BANLIST Mataro and Gaia. Like, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be the best deck in the format, even with those nerfs. But I'd love to be proven wrong.